In the midst of a nationwide housing crisis, a provocative argument is emerging: America may need more sprawl. This notion, once dismissed as a relic of poor urban planning, is now being revisited as experts and developers argue for an expansion of suburban development to address the chronic shortage of affordable housing in the United States. Conor Dougherty, a housing journalist for the New York Times, delves into the complexities of this issue, emphasizing the need for a thoughtful approach to growth that could reshape America's urban landscape. At the heart of this discussion are developers like Ross Perot Jr., who has overseen extensive projects in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Perot's company Hillwood has been instrumental in creating planned communities that are sprouting across Texas, where the population has surged by 3 million over the last 2 decades. "All you got to do is fill in this map and you'll have a pretty good business," Perot remarked, highlighting the potential for growth in these expanding suburbs. However, this vision stands in stark contrast to the prevailing anti-sprawl sentiment that has dominated urban planning discourse for decades. Critics of sprawl argue that it leads to environmental degradation, increased greenhouse gas emissions, and the fragmentation of communities. Anti-sprawl legislation has been enacted in various states, particularly in California, where stringent regulations have constrained development and contributed to skyrocketing housing costs. This regulatory environment has exacerbated the housing crisis, with economists estimating a national shortfall of between 4 million and 8 million housing units. The consequences of this crisis are profound. Rising rents have become a significant driver of inflation, impacting not only individuals but also the broader economy. Many Americans now devote over half their income to housing, while the homeless population continues to rise, increasing by nearly 20% last year alone. Edward Glaser, an economics professor at Harvard, succinctly pointed out that the housing crisis is a huge hindrance on the quest for well-being and the pursuit of happiness. The solution, many argue, lies in building more homes, yet the execution of this idea remains contentious. Recent attempts to encourage denser urban development through legislative reforms have met with limited success, particularly in cities where land is scarce. While the push for urban infill projects is crucial, it does not adequately resolve the housing shortfall. To truly address the crisis, a shift towards suburban sprawl may be necessary. The emotional weight of the word sprawl often overshadows its practical implications. As Dougherty notes, cities like Los Angeles, often criticized for their sprawling nature, actually have higher density in certain areas compared to New York City. Historical patterns of urban development have consistently shown a tendency for cities to expand outward, creating a buffer zone that serves as a transitional area before reaching the urban core. This pattern is not unique to modern America; it has characterized urban growth throughout history. Despite the complexities of urban development, the current housing crisis has prompted renewed interest in sprawl as a viable solution. Many state and local governments are reconsidering their zoning laws, looking to remove restrictions that inhibit growth and promote the construction of new housing developments. In places like Texas, where land is abundant and regulations are comparatively lenient, the opportunity for sprawl is more feasible, resulting in rapid population growth and new housing projects. As the debate continues, the experiences of cities like Princeton, Texas, illustrate the challenges of rapid development. Once a small town, Princeton has seen its population quintuple in just over a decade, highlighting the need for infrastructure to keep pace with growth. Local officials are grappling with the consequences of unregulated development, struggling to provide adequate services as the city expands. Looking forward, the dialogue surrounding America's housing crisis will likely evolve. The push for more sprawl may gain traction as the urgency of the situation becomes increasingly apparent. Developers and policymakers must navigate the delicate balance between expansion and sustainability, ensuring that the solutions implemented today do not create larger problems tomorrow. The need for affordable housing is clear, but how America chooses to address it will define its urban landscape for generations to come. As Dougherty concludes, the solution may not be a choice between sprawl and sustainability, but rather a nuanced approach that incorporates elements of both to create a livable future for all. In a rapidly shifting political landscape, the ramifications of recent events continue to unfold in significant ways. One such development is the withdrawal of former President Donald Trump's nominee to oversee public lands, a move that underscores the contentious nature of political appointments and the enduring impact of the January 6 Capitol riots. The nominee's exit raises questions about the broader implications for environmental policy and governance under the Trump administration's influence. The individual in question, who had been expected to steer the management of vast national resources, faced immediate scrutiny following revelations about their past comments regarding the January 6 insurrection. Criticism mounted from various quarters, including environmental advocacy groups and political opponents, who argued that the nominee's views were incompatible with the responsibilities of overseeing public lands, a domain that requires a commitment to stewardship and ethical governance. As the situation developed, it became clear that the backlash was not solely rooted in the nominee's previous remarks but also reflected a growing concern among the public and policymakers about the implications of such appointments in a post-Trump era. Environmentalists have voiced alarm that the choice could signal a regression in policies aimed at protecting natural resources, particularly in light of the ongoing climate crisis. This withdrawal may be a small victory for conservationists, but it also illustrates the challenges we face in ensuring that public lands are managed responsibly, noted a prominent figure in the environmental advocacy community. While the political atmosphere surrounding this nominee was tumultuous, another significant event captured headlines: the recent prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia that resulted in the release of American citizen Ksenia Karelina. This exchange occurred amid a backdrop of strained diplomatic relations and heightened military tension following Russia's ongoing conflict with Ukraine. The swap, heralded as a sign of potential thawing in relations, raises questions about the future of U.S.-Russia diplomacy. Analysts suggest that such negotiations could pave the way for more substantive discussions on critical issues including arms control and regional security. In a related economic context, falling oil prices have begun to exert pressure on Russia's economy, potentially shrinking its war chest at a time when the country is heavily reliant on energy exports to fund its military operations. Experts warn that this decline could have far-reaching consequences for Russia's military strategy and its involvement in Ukraine. According to recent data, oil prices have dropped significantly, exacerbating existing economic challenges for the Kremlin. A reduced capacity to fund military operations could fundamentally alter Russia's approach to the conflict, commented a leading economist. As the political and economic landscapes evolve, the intersection of governance, diplomacy, and environmental stewardship remains critically important. The fallout from the withdrawal of the public lands nominee and the implications of the prisoner swap signal a complex interplay of factors shaping the future of U.S. policy both domestically and internationally. Moving forward, observers will be keenly attuned to how these developments will influence not only the governance of public lands but also the broader dialogue around U.S. foreign relations and environmental policy. As the political narrative continues to shift, the effects of these pivotal moments will undoubtedly resonate in the months and years to come. In a world where geopolitical tensions often overshadow diplomatic achievements, recent developments between the United States and Russia signal a noteworthy shift in international relations. On April 10, 2025, the two nations executed a prisoner swap that was facilitated by their respective intelligence agencies. This agreement not only underscores the complexities of U.S.-Russia relations but also reflects ongoing efforts to navigate through a landscape fraught with mistrust and strategic posturing. According to reports from the Wall Street Journal, the details of the swap remain largely confidential, but it is believed that both countries made significant concessions to bring their citizens home. This swap is a testament to the ability of diplomacy to find common ground even amidst the most challenging circumstances, said an unnamed source involved in the negotiations. The implications of this exchange are profound, as it could pave the way for further discussions on more contentious issues including arms control and cybersecurity. In a separate but equally impactful announcement, luxury fashion house Prada revealed a monumental $1.4 billion acquisition of Versace. This deal, also disclosed on April 10, 2025, marks a significant consolidation in the fashion industry, showcasing Prada's ambition to strengthen its market position amidst increasing competition. Analysts suggest that this acquisition not only expands Prada's portfolio but also enhances its global brand footprint. Integrating Versace into Prada's operations could create synergies that benefit both brands and appeal to a broader customer base, commented a fashion industry expert. The deal is expected to be finalized by the end of the year, and both brands are poised to unveil new collaborative collections that could redefine luxury fashion. Meanwhile, the digital landscape continues to evolve, with revelations emerging from a secret meeting in which Chinese officials acknowledged their role in recent hacks targeting U.S. infrastructure. This admission, reported on the same day, highlights the escalating cybersecurity tensions between the two economic powerhouses. Experts warn that such transparency, albeit minimal, could lead to a re-evaluation of diplomatic strategies. Acknowledging involvement in these incidents could be a step towards mitigating future cyber conflicts, noted a cybersecurity analyst. However, the long-standing distrust may complicate any potential for constructive dialogue. In a related development, the Trump administration is reportedly pushing for federal oversight of Columbia University. This initiative reflects a growing trend of governmental scrutiny over higher education institutions, particularly regarding their funding and governance structures. The proposal has already sparked debates about academic freedom and institutional autonomy. This kind of oversight could have lasting implications on how universities operate and engage with federal policies, cautioned an education policy expert. As these stories unfold, they collectively illustrate a period of significant change across various sectors, from international diplomacy and luxury retail to cybersecurity and education. The implications of these events are likely to reverberate well into the future, indicating a world where both cooperation and contention coexist. Observers will be keen to see how these developments shape the global landscape in the coming months and whether they foster a climate of increased dialogue and partnership. In a turbulent day for U.S. markets, stocks and the dollar plummeted amid ongoing concerns surrounding President Donald Trump's aggressive tariff policies. After experiencing a significant rally the previous day, marked by a staggering 9.5% increase in the S&P 500, the largest single-day gain since 2008, investors returned to a more somber outlook. By midday Thursday, the S&P 500 had dropped by 3.2%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite fell a staggering 3.7%. The dollar index, which measures the currency against a basket of 6 rivals, tumbled nearly 2%, reflecting a broader sentiment of uncertainty in the financial markets. The initial optimism sparked by Trump's announcement to pause certain tariffs for 90 days was short-lived. While this decision momentarily boosted confidence, the president's insistence on maintaining a 10% universal tariff and significantly increasing duties on Chinese goods to 125% raised alarm among traders. A White House official clarified that this new rate would be layered on top of an existing 20% tariff, leading analysts to warn of a potential economic downturn. It remains difficult to see the U.S. avoiding recession, noted J.P. Morgan, citing ongoing policy chaos and the high tariff levels as significant threats to growth. Goldman Sachs echoed this sentiment, sticking to its prediction of a 45% chance of a U.S. recession within the next year. The firm's analysts highlighted the elevated uncertainty surrounding Trump's trade policies, indicating that this instability could weigh heavily on consumer and business activities. Despite a brief increase in market enthusiasm, the underlying tensions associated with the U.S.-China trade conflict continue to loom large. The average tariff rate is higher than what it was yesterday, commented John Brady, managing director at R.J. O'Brien. The coast is not all clear. Adding to the complexity of the situation, new analyses revealed that the average U.S. tariff on imports from China had surged to a staggering 134.7%.
This figure provided by the Peterson Institute for International Economics underscores the escalation of the trade conflict and its potential repercussions on the global economy. Customs duties collected by the U.S. government also reflected this trend, rising by one-third in March to $8 billion as the initial rounds of tariffs took effect.
As the market grappled with these developments,
the impact was not limited to the stock market alone. Oil prices dropped more than 4% as fears of a protracted trade war overshadowed the temporary reprieve from tariffs.
The U.S. Energy Information Administration reported that global oil demand growth may weaken through 2026 due to ongoing trade tensions, further complicating the economic landscape. In the midst of this turmoil, Trump remained optimistic about the potential for successful trade negotiations. "We're working with a lot of different countries and it's all going to work out very well," he stated during a cabinet meeting. However, the reality on the ground suggested a more precarious situation, with countries like Vietnam preparing for formal trade negotiations while others expressed concerns about remaining targets for tariffs.
As global markets continue to react to the shifting dynamics of U.S. trade policy,
analysts predict that uncertainty will persist in the coming months. The evolving landscape could lead to further volatility in both financial markets and international relations, particularly as countries seek to navigate their own economic interests amid U.S. tariff strategies.
With the implications of Trump's policies rippling through various sectors from manufacturing to energy, investors and policymakers alike are left grappling with the question: will the U.S. economy emerge resilient, or will it succumb to the pressures of a global trade war?
The coming weeks will be critical in determining the trajectory of both the U.S. economy and its standing on the world stage. Donald Trump has once again found himself at the center of controversy, this time facing accusations of insider trading following a sudden shift in U.S. tariff policies that sent stock markets soaring. Just hours before announcing a dramatic pause on additional trade tariffs for most countries, excluding China, Trump posted on his social media platform Truth Social, proclaiming, "This is a great time to buy DJT." This message ignited a wave of speculation regarding his motives and raised questions about potential market manipulation. The announcement, made shortly after U.S. markets opened on April 10, 2025, resulted in immediate financial repercussions. The S&P 500 Blue Chip Index surged over 9%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq Index climbed more than 12%. This bullish trend extended beyond American shores, with Japan's Nikkei 225 Index rising 9% and London's FTSE 100 increasing by as much as 4% in early trading. The timing of Trump's social media post, coupled with the subsequent market uptick, has led to allegations that he may have had prior knowledge of his tariff decision, further fueling suspicions of insider trading. Democratic Senator Adam Schiff was quick to voice concerns, stating these constant gyrations in policy provide dangerous opportunities for insider trading.
Who in the administration knew about Trump's latest tariff flip-flop ahead of time? Did anyone buy or sell stocks and profit at the public's expense? "I'm writing to the White House, the public has a right to know."
Fellow Democratic Senator Chris Murphy echoed this sentiment, asserting that an insider trading scandal is brewing and calling for transparency regarding who had advanced knowledge of the tariff changes.
Interestingly, Trump's initials DJT align with the ticker symbol for Trump Media and Technology Group, the parent company of Truth Social. Shares in this company saw a spike of 22% following the announcement,
further complicating the narrative surrounding Trump's timing and intentions. Amid rising scrutiny, Trump defended his decision during a press conference, stating, "I would say this morning, over the last few days I've been thinking about it," although White House officials claimed the pause was part of an overarching strategy. While the administration supports this decision as a tactical negotiation move, the implications for investors and the broader market remain significant. The pause on tariffs is seen as a potential avenue to ease trade tensions, particularly with China, where Trump has opted to raise tariffs to an unprecedented 125%. This shift has prompted reactions from Beijing, which has retaliated with its own tariffs, intensifying the ongoing trade war.
As the fallout from these events continues, investors and lawmakers alike are left to ponder the ramifications of Trump's recent actions. The political and economic landscapes are shifting, and the calls for investigations into potential insider trading may only add to the volatility. It remains to be seen how this situation will evolve, but the tension between trade policy, market behavior, and ethical governance will undoubtedly be a focal point in the coming weeks. The unfolding drama serves as a reminder of the intricate interplay between politics and financial markets, with implications that could resonate far beyond the stock exchanges. In a shocking incident that underscores the ongoing struggles with domestic violence, a West Scranton man has been charged with assaulting his ex-girlfriend and causing significant damage to her apartment. Andrew Gorba, 29, was arraigned on Wednesday, facing serious felony and misdemeanor charges following an alarming series of events that unfolded last Friday. According to police reports, officers responded to a call on Jackson Street where they discovered Frances Alvario bleeding and lying on the floor of her apartment. She had sustained injuries to her right hand and legs and had been in this state for approximately 3 hours. Alvario recounted to the police that Gorba had previously assaulted her at his residence after a dispute concerning her interactions with other patrons at a local bar where both were employed. During this altercation, Gorba reportedly withheld her belongings, only returning them after Alvario agreed to come to his house. The situation escalated when Alvario returned to her apartment to find her front door unlocked and her television damaged. The confrontation did not end there. She returned to Gorba's home to confront him about the damage, only to find the conflict intensifying. Alvario later informed authorities that Gorba had physically assaulted her, putting her in a headlock and threatening her with a handgun during their dispute. The police investigation revealed a troubling pattern of behavior. Gorba allegedly became increasingly jealous during their time together, which ultimately led to the violence. When questioned, Gorba maintained that Alvario had broken his porch window and that the blood found in his home was from an unrelated injury he had sustained at work. This narrative, however, contrasted sharply with Alvario's account of the events, prompting police to take her allegations seriously. As the case unfolds, Gorba remains in custody at the Lackawanna County Prison, unable to post bail set at $50,000. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for April 23, where further details of the incident may come to light. Meanwhile, the police have indicated that the restitution costs for Alvario and the property owner exceed $1,000. Highlighting the financial and emotional toll of such domestic violence incidents. This case is not only a stark reminder of the dangers associated with intimate partner violence, but also raises broader questions about societal responses to such incidents. As awareness of domestic violence continues to grow, there is hope for improved support systems for victims and more stringent measures against perpetrators. Advocacy groups are watching closely, emphasizing the need for ongoing dialogue about prevention and the importance of providing safe spaces for those affected by domestic abuse. As we look ahead, the outcome of Gorba's case may prompt renewed discussions around legal protections for victims and the effectiveness of current laws in deterring domestic violence. The community's response and the legal ramifications of this incident will likely resonate in Scranton and beyond, urging stakeholders to take decisive action in addressing the complexities of domestic abuse in society.